This video will walk you through how to use Request for Quotes, also known as RFQs. As we learned in previous videos, it's entirely possible to use the purchasing module without even touching RFQs. They're really only used when the price of what you want to buy is unknown, or you want to have multiple suppliers give you quotes on an item. RFQs can be generated in three ways. They can be generated from a purchase request. You can set up your parts to automatically send an RFQ when stock is running low, or you can manually create an RFQ from scratch. Here we see the scenario where an RFQ is created manually from scratch. It's sent to a potential supplier who then responds with a price quote. If the quote is agreeable, then you plug it in as a line item into the purchase order and carry on as you would normally. It's basically the same procedure for the other two methods. RFQs are just inserted into the steps between purchase request and purchase order in the case where you don't have a price on the item. Once the price is obtained from the supplier, you then proceed with the purchase order as you would normally. Remember, when an RFQ is generated automatically because the minimum stock level is breached, the CMMS also automatically creates a purchase request for that part. Let's go through the first scenario, creating an RFQ from a purchase request. I go to my purchase planning board, and I've got a request here from Mark for 2 ARC flash covers, but there's no price listed. So, before I can finalize a purchase order for this part, I'm going to need a price on the item. I check off the part and select Request Quote, which creates an RFQ draft for my part. I also could have checked off more than one part and have them all added to the same RFQ. I can fill in a few more details on the RFQ, including where it's shipped to, a related quote number, expected response and delivery dates, and a few other things. Just like most other forms in the CMMS, I can upload files from my computer and attach them to the RFQ. However, it's important to note that these files do not get attached to any emails that are sent to the supplier. I'll click Send at the top. Just like when I send a purchase order, the preview pops up and I have a few options. I can change my mind and just close the window. I can click OK, which will change the RFQ status to sent, but not actually send it. The reason for this is you may want to fax the purchase order separately instead of emailing it. Or I can click Send Email, which will change the RFQ status to sent and actually email the supplier. I'll send the email. When I hear back from the supplier, I'll then populate the fields for quantity quoted and price quoted. I'll also want to mark the RFQ as received. Then, I'll add this data to the purchase order. I can either choose an existing purchase order or create a brand new one on the fly. Point of interest, I can do these things in any order. And that's it. I've obtained a price for my part and can continue on with my purchase order.